Hi everyone, this is Jay from Formula Catalyst. Today I'll show you how to change the fuse and also swap the springs for the storm system. To start, we need one of the 3.0 hex keys along with the 2.5 hex keys. The first thing we need to do is basically loose all these 8 screws. You can start from this one there, 1, 2, 3, 4, do the corners first, and do these corners later. And after you've done that, I've already done it, you could pull the module out. Don't forget about the ball here. Set it aside or progress from there. Moving on, I've already removed the grip, but you also need to remove the grip. The grip uses 2.0mm hex keys, so you probably need that as well. Basically, there's 4 screws you need to lose. These 2 here are 16mm, and you can use the 2.5s to remove them. So I've pretty much already done that, but just to show you, this is M4 by 16. How to tell if it's 16 or not? Grab a ruler, you can measure basically its length from here to here. 16mm, set those 2 aside. This one here is M4 by 10. This is the screw that holds everything together pretty much. So M4 by 10. Just go for the lift, set it aside. There's also one screw here in this hole, that's M4 by 10 as well. Alright, that's done. After this full screw is done, you have access to the rest of the body. What you need to do is remove the stock first, and then remove the lower receiver. Obviously, this needs a bit of skill to get out. Be careful when you remove the stock. Watch out the cable here. So just hold the table slowly pull it out. Make sure nothing got caught in between there. If all good, you should be slowly move this. Watch out the cables. Just there. So get rid of the stock. Now you can set this aside. Be careful because this is where the brake module is. You don't want to snap that off. And if you do the process in the wrong order, especially you remove the internal motors without getting this off, you will break this lever off. It's a very tiny cable connect to the circuit board at the back. Now you could use your screwdrivers, or what's even better, you can use a set of tweezers to remove the connector. I will use one of these tweezers. These are very fine cables, so you don't want to use too much strength and break the whole thing off. It's a JST connector. You can source it online if you've got it broken, but just better to be careful. And from now on, you could remove the whole circuit board. Good advice, just to keep your hands dry, so when you're touching the electric parts, you won't break them. Now, you will have 8 of M4 by 6mm screws there. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've removed 4 of them. So you could start to remove all 8 together, but just bear in mind this is under pressure. So what I suggest you to do, you could lose 6 of them. So I've already done 4 now, so 5 and 6. And you could do a few things. You could stand it up and give a bit of friction, or you could just use something like I'm just using a piece of cylinder here just to stop the motor ejecting, because there's a pre-compression with the spring as well, so just be careful with that. I'm just gonna hold the pressure, hold the downwards pressure, and down those 2 springs. So the 7s and this is the 8th. Here we go. Remember the pre-compression pressure, and from now on you could pull the whole module out. There's a marker here, but you could pull the whole thing. The motor and inside is the spring. You could again use the pair of tweezers, just grab it from the side like I do, and then get the whole thing out. And don't forget, in the end there is let me see if I can show you that. It's actually a bearing don't know, it's hard to see. I wish I can have some light in there, but it's basically there's a planetary bearing inside just to provide some of the friction, bit of buffer as well. But now you can get a correct spring. If you want, you can lubricate both ends of the spring as well. Put it back. It should naturally slide back to its position, but don't forget there is a holder inside that basically, see if I can do it, holds the spring in there, and your spring should sit peacefully inside. After swap the new springs, you could slide this motor and shaft back. You can add some lubricate to that, lubrications. Make sure it fits and the spring would sit inside. And like I mentioned before, see this marking here? You should always match it right about here. You'll see 4 screw holes, and basically later on you will match this hole. You will push the whole module inside, match this hole to this height, and then you could tighten all the 8 screws which is uninstalled. You want to have something like this to push the motor in there, because a lot of pre-compression again happening. So, and one last thing is the fuse. If you have a lot of frictions in your spring, if it's a new spring, very stiff, you may have a problem of burnt fuse. This is when the first time you got the system ready, and you will almost smell the smoke coming out from the bottom end of the storm where the stock is. But you basically need to find the fine tweezer, and you could pinch and swap the fuse just like that. So basically you could change the fuse just like so. So just be careful with it, how it's been sitting there. That's how you change the fuse. Now put everything back together like I showed you before. So push it back, do the springs first, and do the rest later. I'll show you how to do a first couple springs. I'll maintain a bit of downwards pressure. So just remember, you do need a bit of pressure. if you have a helping hand, it will make everything much easier to do so. But I've done many times, I can do this myself. Just make sure that you line this up perfectly, and that's how you basically install it. After the first one will be the hardest. You could do the rest or line down the unit. You want those 8 screws, that is the end 4x6 mils, to be tight, but not too tight. We've got 2 more here. Now you could put the lower receiver back on. Just be careful where the switch is. This part of the cable is quite delicate, so make sure be careful with what you do. Once the M4 by 10 mil on there. Two of the M4 by 16. I'm not gonna tie it all the way. I'm just gonna tie it a little bit for showcasing everything there. Connect the cable back. This has a direction as well. If you watch this carefully, you'll find those 2 holes are closer to the bottom end, and when you're connecting them, you make sure those 2 pins are facing upwards. Push it in nice and slowly. Again, make sure you double check. You should be able to see a tiny bit of the line just from this direction there. Push the circuit board back and feed the cable through the bottom end of the stock. Tuck the cable nicely in there. Make sure any of the parts won't get caught in there. Again, you want to be careful with all these cables because breaking them can lead to a lot of problems. Now there's another M4 by 10 mil screw. You will screw into this particular hole. You may find some of those cables are in the way, so you want to be careful with how you're putting those cables in. In this case, I'm just using a tweezer to push this red cable away. Just be careful. Drop this in carefully. Drop this in. Make sure the cable is out of the way. And tie it in. Alright. Final step. Double check the jarring ball. Sometimes it got sucked into this ball there, but it's there. You can add a bit more lubrication if you like to. Push this back, slide it around, make sure everything sits really well in there. grab your 3mm hex key, do the corners 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 screws are a bit more delicate, so just be careful, don't strip it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't recommend any electrical screwdrivers, especially working on the storm. Make your job goes a lot faster, however it's very hard to control the torque. Now it's all ready. Obviously this is to the back position. We're just gonna turn it on for the first and see how we go. I'm using a 14.8 volt battery there. You could use 11.1 high discharge rate, say 90 to 150. That'll be fine. Again, make sure it's off. Alright, let's see how we go. So, turn the system on. Yep, looks like there is a bit of friction, but I think that worked well. As you can tell, it's working fine every time. It has the ability to pull it all the way back. We'll call that a success. That's all from me, guys, and basically put all the essential parts back, disconnect the battery. Have a good one.